Hi folks, it's Bob here again for the Bob and Ramon show, flying solo and battling with my second bout of COVID, which isn't too bad. I mean, I'm up and about. I'm not, lying in bed feverish or anything, but it's like having flu. It's a bit boring. So if I'm a bit croaky, excuse me. But what I can do while I'm thus debilitated, broadcasting from my London stately home as usual, is I want to give you a review of a pedal that has come into Ramon and my possession. It's made by a gentleman called Dan Coggins, who has been making effects pedals in the UK for quite a long time, and he's quite a guru on these things. I think he made a pedal called, I think they were called Love Pedals. Let me check that. No, Love Tone, not Love Pedal, different maker. Love Tone pedals back in '95. He was making them under a brand called Dinosaural, I think later on in the early 2000s. He's been designing and helping build for Thorpe Effects, which is a well-known, well-recognised, high-end British semi-bespoke pedal manufacturer, great reputation. My amp builder, Cliff Brown, who builds 633 amps, really rates Thorpe Effects, and he's got great ears, so that's good. I don't own a single Thorpe pedal as it happens, but I have heard them and they're bloody good. Dan also continues to operate in his own right, and he's introduced this new pedal, which is a drive pedal. I'll put a picture of it up right now because then I won't be sort of faffing around and putting it in front of the screen and putting it down and putting my hands around. But it's a really, really interesting pedal. It's quite large format. It's black box. It runs off internal batteries or external 9-volt power. And basically, it's 3 drive sections that you can switch on independently, but they're in a pre-configured order, 1, 2, and 3. Now, I'm demonstrating this through my Fender Deluxe Reverb reissue, because it's just generic, vanilla, anybody can get their hands on it kind of amp, so you're not listening to the amp in this. And I'm going to use a Strat, and then I'm going to use a Les Paul just to demonstrate some of the sounds. I'll give you the clean sound first. It's not very loud. So if I talk over it, that's me talking over it now as I play to you. So this is the kind of volume you might practice at home, plus or minus. This is not loud. And as you can hear, it's pretty clean, it's undistorted. The Deluxe reissue is it's on volume just over 2. Tiny bit of reverb, tone controls at 5, that's it. Right, so that's the regular guitar. This is a Fender Eric Johnson Strat from the mid-noughties. The only mods that have been done to it, it's got Lola pickups in it. And if you want to know why I've put Lola pickups in an Eric Johnson guitar, then ask me offline and I'll tell you, because there's a story there. Right. So that's clean. I'm going to put them on in turn, just each of these 3 drive sections in turn. The first one is called Push, and it's basically, in my language, it's basically a cleanish boost. It's got a lot of boost, so it can push things into overdrive, but it's basically a cleanish boost, quite high headroom, which can act as that on its own, or it can push the subsequent sections. So if I go, that's without. I've got it set up with, but you can adjust it so that it's anything from quiet to quite a lot louder, but this is the kind of always on type setting pedal that you'd have. I've maybe got it just a little bit louder for today's demo, but this is the kind of thing you could easily set and forget when you're playing. And particularly those of you that know, Strats are amazing guitars, but the one thing about them is they're weaker than anything from a Telecaster to a humbucker equipped guitar or a P90. So they need a little help. So whereas I'd be happy going out and gigging with a more powerful guitar straight into a little amp like my Fender Excelsior, just for a small pickup gig, with a Strat I always feel like you need a bit of extra something. And this first stage of this Dan Coggins pedal, the Cogmeister as it's called, certainly does that. And it's lovely and open, transparent, clean. It's like a lot of good effects. It's sometimes slightly difficult to hear it, which is a good thing, because it doesn't add a lot of or a lot of fizz. It's just a quality boost. That's my reading of it anyway. So that's the first section, the yellow section, which is known as push. The second section is probably what most people will call the meat and potatoes of this pedal, which is the drive section, called drive. And that's indicated by a red button. Okay, now the drive section has got a volume control. It's got a control called sustain, which is basically the drive control. And it's got a tone control. So it's a drive pedal. The tone control, its behavior can be shifted by a little three-way switch next to it, which is either, it basically alters the center frequency and the operation of the tone control. I've got this in the middle setting, which is described as flat. And here we go. Let's just, again, we got, that's just straight through. This is with it in. Okay, so again, pretty loud. Now, I've got it on about volume 2 o'clock. But I mean, again, it goes right down to nothing. The sustain, the drive control is only on about 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I'll crank it up a bit later when I use the Les Paul. Tone control's just over midday. Tone control's very good. You've got it has lots of effect in the area where you want it, and it doesn't go too shrill at the far end, which you never use, or too muffled and bassy at the low end, which you never use. So the whole sweep of the tone control is useful. So it's a pretty good drive pedal. But having said that, it's a pretty good drive pedal in a world that is full of pretty good drive pedals. So, you know, it's a bloody good component, but it faces stiff competition. Anyway, that's the drive section. Finally, at the back end, there's a section called solo. And as you might expect, this is really all about taking the tones you've set up with the first two sections and just trimming them in performance. So what you've got here is you've got two controls. One is called level, it's a volume control, and the other is called peak. And the peak, according to the blurb, by the way, got it here, the instruction manual is 1 page of A4, and it's really well written. It actually tells you what this pedal does. Excuse me. It tells you what this pedal does in a single page. Yeah, it could bang on for a whole book if it wanted to about all the tweaks, but you wouldn't read it and you'd do it yourself anyway. It's a really good piece of paper. It's bloody well written. As somebody who writes for a living sometimes, and somebody who also writes for people, I feel qualified to comment on decent piece of writing, and that's a well-written piece of kit. On the back, by the way, it's got a little map that shows you, this coloured bit here shows you the effect of each of the sections in turn, and a quick commentary about what it kind of sounds like. So you can dial in pretty quickly. If you're a high gain player, you can dime it all in. If you're a lower gain player like me, and you just want a bit of sizzle and a bit of zing, you can dial that in, and so on. It's really good. Anyway, so back to this third section, solo. The level control is pretty straightforward. In fact, the level control isn't as profound as you'd think it would be. But the peak control, what it says in Dan's blurb, I will quote, because I don't really understand it, but my God, you can hear it. Right, the peak control, okay? As you advance it clockwise, it's for lifting solos in level above chord work and generally increasing intensity and focus. It affects the output volume of the solo section, and it moves from a clean flat signal boost to a progressively higher gain but narrower bandwidth mid-range boost. So the idea is to push it out into that solo sounding spot. And I guess the best way I can describe it, I've got the strap on the bridge pickup anyway. The best way I can describe it, just readjust myself on the yoga ball, is today the day I'm going to fall off it and make a fool of myself? Who knows? The video is yet young. Right, if I just, right, that's clean again. Okay, this is just with the solo section, none of the other bits in before it. Again, that sounds louder and clean, okay, but if I really advance the peak section to its maximum, So that's sounding quite like a cranked amp. You know, it's beginning to drive, but very subtly. It's not full of fizz and pillows of distortion and stuff. Where I find I like it best is with the level at about midday and the peak sitting at about 2 o'clock. You can hear it's having a pretty good boost. So those are the 3 sections of the pedal, but I've done them in isolation so far. You can, of course, combine any pair or all 3. Now, the way I've got it set up for this demo is I've actually chosen the setting of each section I like. If I put them all together, it's going to have an enormous amount of gain on it. It's going to be hugely gainy. This will drive any amp into submission for sure. I mean, just for the sake of argument, let me just switch them all on. You can hear from behind me, the hum's getting pretty Okay, enough of that, a bit loud. But you can hear it's still got definition. It's not losing anything. So again, the mark of a really nice pedal, subtlety of effect rather than pantomime silly sounds, and good clarity and definition. I should say the reason there's all that hum is I'm sitting a bit close to the Deluxe. It's just, to use an English phrase, up my arse, which is why I may be getting a bit of hum. But that's a quick run through on a nice clean Strat. What I thought I'd now do is just post a few sounds that I made up with a stronger guitar, so I'll use a Les Paul for a bit. Okay, I'm back. Quick guitar change, quick change of camera angle so you see less of my face, a bit more of the guitar. I've now got Les Paul, again, going straight into the Cogmeister and into the Deluxe Reverb reissue. And I thought where I'd go, I'm going to try a few more slightly drivier sounds this time. But I thought where I'd go first is just using the push channel, which is the first of the stages in this box. A sort of, as I say, a kind of clean boost. Just the clean boost on the neck pickup, because it sounds really quite sweet. Sounds pretty good if I just switch it off. That was with it on and off, respectively. It sounds pretty good. But if I now go into a bit more gain, maybe something like... gain, probably a bit more gain than I'm used to playing with, really. I don't really play that kind of rock style much anymore, but the thing definitely goes into gain. That might sound a bit fizzy for you, I don't know. Did for me. But just with a small tweak, we can take the tone control back, no problem. Decent gain sound. What I'll do now is switch the solo button on at the back next as well. This is now all 3 sections of the pedal working in tandem. What I will do, I'm going to take the drive down just a bit on the middle channel, because I think the back end is going to make it up a bit. You can hear there's a bit less hum because I'm using humbuckers now, but I'm still too close to the amp. Sorry about that. But here we go. Here's a bit of all 3 together. go. Little bit of Zeppelin kind of sounds coming through there in the middle. So again, pretty good pedal. I'm kind of out of my comfort zone because I'm using a lot more drive than I'm used to, but you can set up, as you can see from this pedal, quite a lot of different sounds. I mean, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's got 7 knobs and 1 3-way switch. Which kind of means you've got a lot of flexibility. I'll post some pictures of it and of the blurb on this video so you can see it. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I would say that Dan Coggin's Dinosaural Cogmeister multiple drive pedal is a real winner, actually. But let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye.